Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a concept that's usually wrapped up in a whole lot of mysticism, and we're breaking it down to its hard science and rigorous discipline. We're talking about the phrase, money cometh. Now you might hear that and immediately think of prosperity teachings, right? But what we're actually uncovering today is the fascinating behavioral economics and neuroplasticity that make this kind of declaration function as a high-level psychological control system. So, get ready, because we're going to look at the literal mechanics of how an abundance mindset fuels tangible, daily production.
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? Can you actually speak wealth into existence? I mean, it sounds like magic, but I want you to drop the idea of a magic spell right now. Seriously. We're going to look at this not as wishing for dollars to just fall from the sky, but as an absolute masterclass in psychological priming and operational discipline. As you'll see, the source material shows us that expecting wealth is actually an incredibly powerful tool for changing exactly how you interact with your work, your technology, and your daily habits.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the psychological engine, rewiring for wealth.
To really get this, we need to look at what's literally happening in your brain when you shift your focus from financial anxiety to an expectation of acquisition. There is a stark biological contrast at play here. You see, our brains are evolutionarily wired to look out for threats. In our modern world, that threat response often manifests as a scarcity mindset. When you're stressed about money, your brain's reticular activating system, or RAS, literally filters your environment to show you evidence of limitation and potential loss. You become reactive, you become incredibly anxious. But look at the abundance side of things. By intentionally focusing on the arrival of wealth, you completely deactivate that stress response. You empower your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for logical planning, which allows you to be proactive, clear-headed, and equipped with real visionary endurance.
And this brings us to a really foundational definition: cognitive reframing. This is what the phrase money cometh actually is. It's not magic, it's a psychological tool. By repeatedly stating that money is in the process of coming, you're intentionally forcing your brain to replace a mindset of lack with an expectation of acquisition. So why does this matter? Well, because financial anxiety almost always leads to impulsive behaviors, right? Like panic selling assets or just abandoning long-term projects when things get a little tough. This reframe stops that impulsivity dead in its tracks, helping you maintain total focus on those long-term financial goals.
Let's walk through this psychological loop step by step. It starts with step 1, the cognitive reframe, stating the expectation, which then triggers step 2, self-priming. Your RAS activates, but this time it's filtering for growth. You suddenly start perceiving market trends, or maybe you recognize the utility of a new piece of software you would have otherwise completely ignored. This naturally leads right into step 3, anxiety reduction, because you aren't operating out of fear anymore. And finally, step 4, rational decision-making. A calm mind can handle complex, multi-step tasks like managing digital revenue streams or adhering to strict budget protocols without being paralyzed by fear.
Moving on to Section 2, spiritual stewardship, the energy behind the grind.
So, moving beyond just the cognitive side, we have to look at the energy that actually sustains this mindset. It's often framed in a spiritual context, sure, but it's deeply, deeply practical. It's way less about waiting for spontaneous cash and more about extreme integrity with your resources. This brings up a really fascinating concept from the text called the law of circulation. This principle completely flips how we view spending. Instead of hoarding money or reacting to expenses with pure dread, you start viewing expenditures, like paying bills or investing in equipment, as intentional seeds being sown. You aren't losing money, you're keeping the metaphorical channels of prosperity open. When you pair this kind of detachment with immense gratitude for what you already have, it completely eliminates financial desperation. And let me tell you, a mind free of desperation is highly receptive to creative problem solving.
Now for Section 3, the bridge, alignment and daily discipline.
The source is crystal clear on one major warning here. Declaring that wealth is coming means absolutely nothing if you lack the infrastructure to receive it. This is the bridge between an abstract declaration and cold, hard cash. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how mental alignment requires functional reality to produce a revenue result. If your strategy is scaling a newsletter, the functional reality is using script-to-video automation tools, which results in higher conversions for 2,000-plus subscribers. If it's custom music, it's about the daily discipline of tagging metadata for niche genres to get predictable licensing income. If you're operating in decentralized networks, it means meticulously tracking epochs on phantom wallets to realize actual digital capital. The mindset is the fuel for sure, but these strict operational systems, they are the engine. Which brings us to Section 4, the gritty reality of production.
Now we pivot hard into the unglamorous, grueling reality of what it actually takes to generate this abundance day in and day out. 500. This specific number represents the intense behavioral discipline required. The text highlights a strict mandate to write 500 words per topic every single day. This is the repetitive grind. It's not always exciting, I know, but this is the exact behavioral consistency that the abundance mindset is designed to protect.
And here is the tangible output of that discipline. 89. Building a library of 89 books doesn't just happen by magic, folks. It is direct evidence that the repetitive daily discipline is functioning exactly as intended. The mindset survives the grind, ensuring that the focus on your end goal remains totally uninterrupted by the temporary state of your finances.
Let's define what this looks like on the ground. Repetitive is the endurance of doing the exact same work every single day to ensure growth. Whether that's writing those 500 words or opening up your software to produce country and Latin pop tracks day after day. Let's be honest, it's easy to get bored. But the abundance mindset acts as the psychological fuel that stops you from quitting when this incredibly necessary repetitive work becomes monotonous.
Then there's the technical reality. This is the nitty-gritty problem solving required to keep your systems running smoothly. We're talking about fixing Windows registry issues, browser-based wallet connectivity, and Solana configurations. Technical work is often deeply frustrating. Computers break, blockchain connections drop. But a primed brain sees a software glitch not as a reason to throw their hands up and quit, but simply as a hurdle to clear. It's just a problem to solve, rather than a sign to give up.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, the final verdict, a control system for behavior.
We've seen the psychology, the spiritual stewardship, and the gritty technical realities. So we arrive at the final burning question. Does this actually work? Is declaring money cometh a valid strategy? Well, the text gives us a very clear, nuanced answer. It is definitely not a binary yes or no, because its success depends entirely on how you use it.
So the crucial point is this. It works, but only under specific, strict conditions. It requires strict market demand. You actually have to provide genuine value. It demands high technical proficiency to execute your digital platforms. It mandates financial stewardship through really disciplined budgeting. And above all else, it is never a substitute for action. It is a strict control system for your own behavior. It keeps you observant, consistent, and resilient. And that, my friends, is the true mechanism of success. Which leaves us with this provocative challenge to end on. You might have the mindset, you might be declaring the arrival of wealth, but take a hard look at your daily habits, your technical processes, and your professional output. Is your infrastructure actually ready for the abundance you're calling in? If the money arrived today, do you literally have the systems in place to capture and multiply it? It's time to audit your alignment. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep building.